Imagine this. You're making $80,000 a year in Canada. You've got a decent job. You're doing what you're supposed to do. And yet, at the end of the month, it still feels tight. Savings? Not really there. Credit cards? Slowly creeping up. Buying a home? Feels completely out of reach. Now, here's the part that's hard to accept. That's not just a money problem. It's a financial education problem. My name is Sai, and I spend an unreasonable amount of time looking at housing data, interest rates, and how money actually behaves in Canada, so you don't have to. And what I've realized is this. Most Canadians aren't struggling because they don't earn enough. They're struggling because no one ever taught them how money actually works. Now, quick note, this isn't financial advice. Just here to help you understand how this works. All right, let's get into it. Let me ask you something. In school, did anyone actually teach you how mortgages work, what interest really does over time, how taxes affect your income, how to invest properly? Probably not. But somehow, you're expected to figure all of that out while making the biggest financial decisions of your life. Buying a house, taking on debt, planning your future, all without a manual. And that's where things start to break. Because in 2026, money is not forgiving anymore. The average home price in Canada, still around $700,000. In cities like Toronto or Vancouver, you're easily looking at $1 million or more. Mortgage rates, around 5 to 6%. Rent, up 20 to 30% compared to just a few years ago. And that's just housing. Groceries are up, insurance is up, everyday life is more expensive. But income hasn't kept up the same way. So people feel stuck. And when people feel stuck, they start making decisions just to cope, not to get ahead. And this is where most people go wrong. They don't make intentional decisions. They follow default ones. Here's what that looks like. You go to the bank, they approve you for a $900,000 mortgage, and in your head, that becomes your budget. But no one really slows it down for you. Mortgage, $4,500 a month. Property tax, $500. Utilities, $300. Maintenance, $400. That's close to $5,700 every single month. And suddenly, you're not building a life, you're maintaining a payment. No flexibility, no margin, no room to breathe. And the worst part, nothing went wrong. You just didn't see the full picture. Now, let's talk about the other side of this. Debt. Not the obvious kind, the normal kind. Credit cards at 19.99%. Car loans at 7 to 9%. Buy now, pay later, everywhere. It doesn't feel dangerous because nothing breaks immediately. But behind the scenes, interest is working against you, quietly, consistently. And over time, that's what keeps people stuck. Not bad decisions, uninformed ones. Quick pause for a second. What's one thing about money you wish you understood earlier? Drop it in the comments. I read them, and honestly, a lot of these videos come from that. Now, here's where things start to shift. Financial education doesn't make you rich overnight. It doesn't suddenly change your income, but it changes how you think. You stop asking, how much can I borrow? And you start asking, what can I actually afford without stress? You stop upgrading your lifestyle every time your income goes up, and you start building stability instead. You start thinking in years, not paychecks. And once that shift happens, everything else starts to fall into place. Let me show you how powerful that really is. Two people, same income, $80,000 a year. One of them spends most of what they make, upgrades their lifestyle, carries some debt. The other understands how investing works, uses accounts like a TFSA, avoids high interest debt. Fast forward 10 years, They're not even close. Not because one worked harder, not because one got lucky, because one understood the rules. And this is the part most people underestimate. Small decisions, repeated consistently, create completely different outcomes. If you invest $500 a month at around a 7% return, over 25 years, that turns into over $400,000. Same money, different direction. If you pay off a credit card charging 20% interest, that's like earning a guaranteed 20% return. If you understand your real budget, you avoid putting yourself in a position where every month feels heavy. These aren't advanced strategies, they're fundamentals, but most people never learn them. And in the past, that didn't matter as much. Homes were cheaper, rates were lower, mistakes were easier to recover from. In 2026, that margin is gone. One bad decision can set you back years, but one good decision, that compounds too. And that's really what this comes down to. Financial education isn't about becoming rich. It's about having options. Options to say no. Options to take a break. Options to make decisions without constant financial pressure. Because when you understand money, it stops controlling your life. And that changes everything. If there's one thing to take from this, it's this. You don't need to be perfect with money. You just need to be intentional. Most people will keep guessing. Most people will keep following what everyone else is doing. But the people who take the time to understand how money actually works, they build a completely different life. If this made you think a little differently, consider subscribing, because this is exactly what we do here. Break down money in a way that actually makes sense, especially in Canada. And one more thing. What's one financial habit you want to improve starting now? Drop it in the comments. I'm Sai. I'll see you in the next one.